Hello, Suns fans. This is Suns Latest. I am Rich Rubin as of this recording, 757 Sunscribers. I really appreciate you commenting, subscribing, and watching and being part of Suns Latest. This is for all of us because we are all crazy, weird Suns fans. Quote of the day. Quote, I was thinking about making a comeback until I pulled a muscle vacuuming. That is from Johnny Bench, one of the greatest baseball players of all time. As a kid growing up, Johnny Bench was kind of the man, him and the big red machine of the Cincinnati Reds. And other than boxers and just a handful of major sport athletes, it seems to be legit when athletes retire, when they finally retire. They seem to be okay with it. They seem to understand it's like, I'm not 26, I'm not even 36. The body changes, and it's only a short amount of time where you can be otherworldly, superhuman athlete guy. And I think they all agree that do everything you can when you are at the peak of your powers. And to be fair, I think they all agree. I think they all strive for that, and I think some of them fall short and they get called out for, well, he didn't try or that one didn't do this. And I don't think that's the case. I think especially in today's game where there is so much to gain and so much to lose in a very short amount of time, when it is time to retire, it's a positive thing. I also like it when guys retire and there's absolutely no fanfare, and they definitely made a bag. Luol Deng comes to mind, who never complained about a thing, and teams just kept paying him no matter what he did, and he was an all-star. I always think about Luol Deng when it comes to that. Alrighty, so news: Suns kick off regular season tonight. You had Mortgage Matchup Center against the Kings with newly signed Russell Westbrook, who is a game-time decision. Everybody in the starting lineup right now for both teams, at least listed in two different publications, is game-time decision. I don't know why they're doing that. I think it's just because it's the beginning of the season and coaches are waiting to figure out how they're going to do it. I'll be in Phoenix in just a few hours, but I'm going to the Alice Cooper Judas Priest concert at Talking Stick Casino and Resort. I bought these tickets a billion years ago. My buddies and I are going, but I will be checking on the game. Two former Suns, Drew Eubanks and Dario Saric, are now Kings. They will be without starting center and NBA rebound leader for the last 3 years. Domantas Sabonis out with a grade 1. Get it? Listen, remember, think about it. What else? Who else has one of these? Hamstring injury. He's going to be evaluated in a few days. Forward Keegan Murray of the Kings, who just signed a big ol' extension, is also out with a thumb injury. Kings starters sit right now at Dennis Schroeder, Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, Dario Saric, and Drew Eubanks. Isaac Jones could get the nod over Saric. That's why they're always game-time decisions. They're not really sure yet. He had a pretty good preseason. Like Sabonis, Suns projected starter, at least when we got him, Jalen Green, out with a hamstring injury and will be out for at least another 5 days when he gets reevaluated. Grayson Allen going to get the start in place of Green, which is not a bad thing, but they have Devin Booker listed as point guard and Grayson Allen listed as shooting guard, and that, I know it doesn't mean anything, but that's a bad sign for me, and I know Booker has become a good facilitator. I know Grayson Allen will defer to Booker. I just don't like seeing point guard next to Booker. He's not a point guard, even though he can play it better than a lot in the league. Starting center Mark Williams will start, even though it says game time decision, projected starting center. He sat out the entire preseason. I think the Suns were making double dog sure that with all the controversy regarding Mark Williams' injuries from before, that he started the first game of the regular season. And I think that is smart. I think that is good PR. And I think, just from an injury standpoint, that's the right move. What would have happened, God forbid, if Mark Williams got hurt in the preseason? Final roster. I said I was going to do it yesterday, but it's always good to do it right on the first day of the season. So here is the Suns' final roster on day one. Grayson Allen, Devin Booker, Dylan Brooks, Ryan Dunn, Rasheer Fleming, Colin Gillespie, Jordan Goodwin, Jalen Green, Nigel Hayes-Davis, who had a quiet but steady preseason, by the way. He's not a spectacular player, but he's good and steady. Oso Igdoro, Kaman Malawash, Royce O'Neal, Nick Richards, Mark Williams, C.J. Huntley, Isaiah Livers, and Kobe Brea, all on two ways, so they can cut back and forth between the G League Valley Suns and the main roster for up to 50 games each, which is kind of good news. So those are your Phoenix Suns to start the year. I'm going to blow off the majority of the comments because I started this yesterday and I'm going to finish it today with commentator Ron, who I haven't heard from since. But I got to be honest, I took this one to heart when Ron said, I don't like your KD take it all. Basically, you are saying it's okay for KD to screw over every organization but the Warriors. I do not like the term. So you're saying When someone repeats that back to you, it's like, just say what you got from it. Don't tell people what they're saying. It's a really weak and weird way to start an argument. And here we go. How did he screw over every organization except for OKC? He wanted to go to Brooklyn and lead them to a ring. He came very, very close. It didn't work out. He wanted to go to Phoenix and do the same thing. Not his fault. The Suns let CP3 go for Beal and brought in a dud coach. Keeping CP3 would have made a huge difference for KD and the team. Suns tried to trade him halfway through the season last year, but he wanted to stay. How is that screwing over the Suns? If he had stayed in Golden State, they would have won another title, maybe two, maybe more. They had Toronto beat before Clay and KD injuries made them sit. Then he left by irrationale. Wouldn't that be screwing over the Warriors? Metallicop joins in. Hello, sir. KD absolutely pushed the Suns to sign Beal. This also wasn't his fault, but we had to gut our team to get him, and all he ever brought was points, nothing else. Look, we're all sore about losing the Twins. But at the time, it was a little polarizing, but it was Kevin Durant. And nobody was turning up their nose at it 100%. Metallicop, I never heard anything about pushing for Beal. Pushing for Beal. There's more to it. And or that he didn't want Chris Paul on the team. To be fair, I never heard anything regarding KD CP3, so what sources are there? I'm not calling you out. I just want to know. I stand corrected with an asterisk. KD suggested to the front office to sign Beal when Beal was available. It wasn't a push. It wasn't a demand. It wasn't, I'm out of here. KD was already locked in. KD was a Sun. He had gotten everything he wanted. And it is smart of management in the front office to go, hey, who do you think we should get? And he suggested Beal, and he said, I really like Beal. That's what he said. That's the front office. That's Kevin Durant. That's a superstar doing what they are supposed to do. Offer suggestions. Think of maybe who they could play well with. LeBron did it and brought in Russell Westbrook, and it went to hell. So, anyway, KD did not want CP3. Ron, KD did not want CP3 back. I still haven't heard this one. And somebody send me something that proves it. Made several comments that he did not need a point guard. KD logic. Now that I agree with. He seemed to feel that way in Brooklyn, even though they had Kyrie Irving. He was all on board for Beal. He totally gave up during the Timberwolves series. Anyone that has watched basketball enough can see that totally subjective, but I feel he strongly checked out. So there's a factual statement, and then now subjective, and then you backed off, and then you feel that he checked out. So there's three different contradictions in one sentence, Ron. Sorry, but that's what I'm reading. He refused to talk to Vogel during the last stretch of the season, which is screwing over the Suns and their fans. Coach Bud sucked, but KD took no responsibility to be a leader and sulked and was abrasive towards his coach during timeouts. Everybody sulked. Everybody was abrasive towards Coach Bud before the All-Star game. Don't just throw that on KD. Here's where arguing sports gets really sad. Yeah, you can't BS true Suns fans. We live through it. Maybe wherever you currently live, which is probably not Arizona, you have a different point of view. But not many of us diehards have any appetite for KD apologists. Yeah, shove it, Ron. You know, I was a Suns fan before you were born. I can promise you that. But that has nothing to do with it. The fact is you're calling me a KD apologist. I report what I see. I report facts. And I usually recite at least two references. I don't get on my feelings and say, here's what you are. Or you're not a true Suns fan. Or you don't live here, so you can't possibly be a Suns fan. Dude, my dad's lived in Arizona his whole life. There isn't a bigger New York Yankee fan on the planet. And sitting over here, and I'll show it to you one day, is a seat from the original Yankee Stadium before the renovation in 1977. He went back to the Bronx to get one. So don't tell me about just because you're not in the city where the team is means you're not a fan. Are you an original Arizona native? I don't know, but I'm not saying that you probably aren't. I'm not speculating. Don't do that with people. Ron, fair enough, but he got outplayed by a hungrier Anthony Davis, who I felt intimidated him. So maybe he just got beat and didn't know what to do about it. And that's happened to every single player, even LeBron, except Mike. I don't remember the last time Mike got beat. I saw the same series. His focus wasn't great, but he didn't check out. More like, I don't know what to do. I don't have a coach who's helping me. I don't know what to do. Everybody's standing around watching me. Now, to be fair, because of KD's game, that was the evolution of the Suns last year. Everybody stood around and watched KD. Calling it like I see it, just like you, is not being an apologist. I loved having KD on the Suns, but I will say he checked out by the All-Star break, as did everybody else, as did Coach Bud. Beal checked out. Book didn't know what to do. They all played a part, not just Kevin Durant. Either way, I'm glad he's gone. Ron, fair enough. I apologize if I was a bit critical of your take. Thank you. I really think KD is doing his passive-aggressive media by throwing stones from a glass house. It's all KD logic stuff that I can't get on board with. which, based on his history of damaging fan bases, he has left behind. Never forget, he fired Steve Nash and many other coaches because he can't handle any criticism. I don't know if that was 100% on KD. Ron, I think you have a good basketball acumen. I think you get in your feelings when it comes to what really happened and stating things as fact. That might be what you think. But, way it goes. Me, my man, Ron, still, no apology necessary. I love having a good back and forth regarding our team and KD. And thank you. I really appreciate it. This is what it's about. We're supposed to do this. We're supposed to go nuts. We're supposed to get in our feelings about certain things. But criticism is important. If I can't have criticism, if I can't take some criticism, if I can't admit when I'm wrong, then what's the whole point? Then it's just, it's like a whole lot of other media out there where it's just straight up bias and nobody really cares if it's just one person screaming what they think and feel. So I appreciate the back and forth. And I 100% KD, just like LeBron, very passive aggressive. And it's kind of aggravating. So moving on to the Suns Legend of the Day. Anytime you guys got a comment, anytime you want to call me out, that's cool. But try not to speculate, unless it's about the Suns. But don't speculate about what somebody's thinking or stating things that you feel or you're pretty sure of as fact. That's when you lose credibility. And we all do it, and it's totally cool. Legend of the Day, Hustlers Edition. This was thought up by Suns' latest viewer, Nevetsov, and this player, along with a bunch of others, was suggested by Michael J., Suns' latest viewer commentator. And this is the guy that I like, and I got his name on the Basketball from 77. His name was Ricky Sobers, and he doesn't know how to write, at least on this tiny little basketball. But Ricky Sobers is your Suns Legend of the Day. Hustler Edition. Born in Harlem, moved to the Bronx, drafted in 75 as the 16th overall pick by the Suns. 6'3", 198-pound point guard out of UNLV, but Ricky Sobers could play shooting guard. And he was a tough defender, played 2 years with the Suns, and in his rookie year, by the time the Western Conference Finals got around, where the Suns had to get past the defending champion and best team in the league, Golden State Warriors, to go on to play the Celtics, Ricky was starting in the backcourt with Paul Westphal, and he helped the Suns get to the finals. He had a really good Western Conference Finals. He was so good against the Warriors, they switched defensive schemes. They took Rick Barry off of him and put Phil Smith, a guard, on him, and it still didn't matter. Ricky Sobers ran over the Warriors. He also punched Rick Barry early in, I want to say, the 7th game. They got into it. Rick Barry, as great as he was an absolute pain in the butt. He absolutely wore his I'm the best player in the league status like a crown and did not take kindly to a rookie getting in his face. And Ricky Sobers was like, yeah, and clocked him. And there's a lot of rumors that Barry, because his team didn't like him either, he was great, but Rick Barry was so arrogant. And his team didn't like him. They didn't really come to his defense. And there are a lot of rumors that Rick Barry gave up, or he was such a baby that he gave up on his team. Rick Barry has completely denied that. But it is fair to say, even though he had some points, Rick Barry wasn't himself after that. And that is the Ricky Sobers effect. He showed Ricky Sobers wasn't afraid of anybody. I mentioned Paul Westphal all the time regarding that season and the finals. The Game 5 triple overtime, but make no mistake, Ricky Sobers was a huge part in the Suns getting to the finals. And in Game 5 triple overtime, the greatest game ever played, no one mentions that Ricky Sobers scored 25 points. I'm guilty of it too. I forgot that he did this. 6 assists and played gritty defense throughout regulation and 3 grueling overtimes. Ricky Sobers is as big a reason for getting to the finals and extending the Celtics as anybody, and that includes Paul Westphal. He was that clutch at that time as a rookie. I was at Game 3 at the Madhouse in McDowell, and Ricky Sobers was killing the Celtics, and Tommy Heinsohn, coach of the Celtics, who I loved as a player and hated as a coach, put in scrub this punk named Kevin Stakem to get into Ricky's grill, and he did a good job of that, and they ended up in a headlock, got into a fist fight early in the game, and both got ejected. Now, to Tommy Heinsohn's credit, he knew Ricky Sobers was somebody who was ready to fight and wanted to fight and was going to throw down, and he would not back down. But he also knew the Celtics would be fine without a guy like Kevin Stakem. He also knew the Suns would not be fine without a guy like Ricky Sobers because we needed him. We didn't have a whole lot of people. We were starting a rookie. Of course we needed him. Coach McLeod called it and said Stakem was put in to bait Sobers to get him out of the game, and it worked. It's a dirty tactic. Yeah, not right. It's not fair. It's not cheating, but it's a sign of weakness. I really believe that. Shades of Robert Horry in '07. That's the playoffs, but another reason to hate Boston. And I'd already hated Tommy Heinsohn as a coach. I really hated him after that. And Ricky liked to fight. Boston saw that, use it to their advantage. It's such BS. The Suns won that game anyway. Screw you, Boston. Game 4, Ricky sealed the win with a bank shot, 90 seconds left, giving the Suns a second victory in a row over the Celtics, who were supposed to sweep them. The series was now tied 2-2, and the Suns went back to Boston for Game 5, and they won that freaking game, and I'm never going to get over that. As good as Ricky Sobers was, he wasn't a good fit with Paul Westphal. He just wasn't. They did not like each other. They were similar in attitude, but Ricky always took it one step further. Ricky had a lot more to prove than Westphal. Westphal was an established star. I'm not saying they hated each other. I'm saying the combination wasn't right. Westphal needed a more passive point guard defender. And Ricky, when he felt like it, shot the ball. And Westy didn't like that. And I understood the concept of trading Ricky Sobers for a two-time All-Star in Don Boozy. I get it. He was a better fit with Paul Westphal. We've talked about Don Boozy before. I think we lost a little bit of lightning when we traded Ricky. It's not. I'm not ripping on Don Boozy, but I thought we should have figured out a way to keep Ricky Sobers. I have a feeling McLeod didn't know what to do with both of them, but obviously he couldn't trade Westphal. Good trade for both. Ricky went on to average 18 points and 7 assists a game with the Pacers for the next couple of years. He played 11 years in the NBA. Everywhere he went, fans loved him for his tenacity and his intensity. I got the autograph on my mini basketball. Ricky was as intense as he was tough. Ricky was awesome with fans, especially kids. He was one of the few guys that would hang around the J and talk to kids and shoot free throws with them and just have a good time. He was a happy guy. When he wasn't in the thick of a hard game, Ricky Sobers was the nicest man. He was a cool guy. He was one of the few guys that used the public locker room on days off, and he'd play at the gym just like any other gym rat. The guy's an NBA pro. Remember, back in the day, the Suns were the only thing Phoenix had. Ricky Sobers was a regular dude. Show up, play in the gym, say hi to everybody, get to give autographs, and go back to playing by himself. He was kind of a loner, and people absolutely loved Ricky Sobers, one of the most approachable Suns I've ever seen. Ricky is retired, enjoying his active retirement in Las Vegas. Ricky Sobers, only 2 years with the Suns, but a huge impact, and everybody remembers him. Ricky Sobers is your Suns Legend of the Day, Hustler Edition. Thank you so much for watching Suns Latest. Please keep commenting. Thank you so much for becoming a Suns subscriber. We'll see you tomorrow after the game.